Okay, so as you can see, my name is Cezar. I'm from Poland. I'm actually not living in Berlin yet. Probably, hopefully, I will one day. And yeah, I'm a post photographer, and I deal with things that I'm going to show you. I've graduated from University of Arts in London and in Poland, my home city, and I've been doing things that I'm doing right now on one single path for like a year and a half now, and this is the project I'm working on. It's called Untitled. The technology that I'm using, it's my own, and it's called sonography, and I'm dealing with ontology of an image. So basically, the question that I'm trying to answer is what is a photographic image? What is a digital image today that we're dealing with, that we're surrounded by? And I came to conclusion that a digital image is a chain of binary numbers interpreted by a computer environment to represent visual information, and digital means written in digits. So basically, that's the thing. This is the cut from a code that is a digital image, and the problem that it produces is that it can be reproduced beyond Walter Benjamin's idea conveyed in the text called "The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction," which was written in the 50s, so before the coming up of digital. And in times of analog photography, there was clear understanding of what is an original and what is a copy. Negative image, the original, was on the other hand reproducing things happening in the eye of the lens, and the copy was the print made out of the negative. And nowadays this certainty is no more, because there is no clear subject, nor is there a distinction between copy and the original. The original doesn't exist, and there is only an interpreted copy, which on different devices can present itself differently. For example, this screen and our phones and prints and whatever, on every single different medium, it will look differently. And this was an image that I took the code and I just like messed with it, and that's what's coming up after you glitch the code. And the image itself, it's not solid, it's liquid. It can be interpreted as symbols, and on different medium, the form it gets, it becomes. So it can be read as text, it can be read as sound, and it can be read as everything that computer can do. So different program can read different type of files differently. So we can just like go on and go on. And this is kind of like my interpretation of how the digital image is being done. Yeah. Yeah, and this is actually my interpretation of it, how digital image and how the information on the digital sensor is being... No, there is no need to. And yeah, that's the whole background, theoretical background, which brings me to my works. And the things that I'm doing, I learned how to decode the digital image that I take. I'm a photographer from, originally I'm a photographer, so I take my images and I decode them in the hexadecimal code, which is more complex than binary code because it consists of zeros and from 0 to 9 and the letters from A to F, which is 16 digits, hence the hexadecimal code. And I began to interpret the code differently. So what I do is I take the code and I listen to it, and I treat it like music. And this is the sound of an image, actually, of digital image. And as you can see, my previous experience in music made me capable of twitching the sound the way I want. So I'm hearing what I took as a picture, and then I deal with it as a sound, and I come up with things like that. The sound and the things that I do with them is the basis for the next steps of visual work. So I take a photo, I listen to it, and then I see what I've heard, and then work more on the visual aspect of it. And what comes up are more like what I would say, what I would call it, are the express abstractionist images. Expressionism, abstract expressionism, something like that, which is kind of like, for me, it's kind of like a weird thing, because the thing that the image is digital, for me, brings me back to more classical ways of art, which is painting, for example, because what I try to think of the things that I'm doing are like digital paintings, more of not the figurative photography, mimetical photography. So yeah, this is the these are the examples, and yeah, as I said, the process, the most important thing about this is the process of changing the character of the pictures that I take. I listen to them, and this is my own kind of like personal way of dealing with them, because for me, from the philosophical point of view, we're living in a digital world which basically is difficult to pinpoint the soul of the things that we are surrounded by. And my work is basically a search for me to find what is the actual meaning of digital in the world that we live in. And hopefully one day I will come up with the answer. But basically this is the search. This is, for example, my auto-portrait, and this is the reinterpretation of the digital image, and this is what I came up with. Yeah. And thank you very much for attention. Thank you very much. I hopefully I didn't drift away too far.
So I have some questions,
Cool.
and I have at least two.
No.
And if you have some of them, we can actually ask them. So I think it's very interesting. Again, nice work.
Thank you.
I have some. So my first question is, you didn't say about your like you use some kind of images.
Yeah.
That you tweak.
Yes.
And in the end, in a way, you destroy them, you distort them so much that they are not visible.
They're not visible at all.
So does it matter? Does it matter, or the final, the final distorted image? That is it. Should we recognize it? Does it matter to recognize it?
The original
this is
image.
This is a question. So you answer.
No, I don't think so, because the original image, there is no, as I said in my presentation, there is no original image. There is only an interpretation of the device that I took it with. This is just a code. So there is no original. There is no point of reference. There is no point of reference. This is it. There is no before. There is no, maybe there is after, but there is no before for me. This is something that you look and you find something that you want in it. There is no, the titles even. I do not put the titles. This is untitled. Basically, all of them are untitled, and I don't want. There is no need for me to tell you what it was before. Only once I told you, and I try to think of them as much abstract as they can get.
Okay, thank you. So, do you have a question, or should I go to the next one? You want ask. So, take this one so we can have it also.
So first, I want to say I'm deeply astonished by your discourse and by your approach.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's hyper it's fascinating, and so you kind of establish a reflection on, without any point of reference, as you say, on the image. It can be any, yeah?
Yeah. It can be anything.
And how do you see the viewer? What is the role of the viewer? Because it's it's like your intimate process of research. I don't even ask what kind of programming you use to have the sound, and from the sound to the image. But is it important for you, or it's just your personal research, this process? And how do you see this result? I mean, what does it mean for you? What is the mission of it?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also interested in we have this old Greek, ancient Greek notion of catharsis.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with it?
I will answer step by step. So first of all, I think the viewer in this type of things is crucial, because without the viewer in here, there would be no reflection on what I'm doing, on what is going on, and what actually the digital image is. This is part visual, part theoretical. So for me, in an ideal scenario, I would come up with the philosophical theory as well, finding the Heideggerian design or whatever of digital image, which is the question that many people are struggling with, because it's so new, and it's progressing so fast that we cannot even name it. It's so fast. We live in a world that is so fast, and we lost the capability of recognizing things because we're not able to process them so quickly. And this is, for me, this is kind of like the process of naming it. This is the process of understanding what is going on, because a lot is going on and a lot of weird things are going on. And basically, yeah, and I don't know yet, but hopefully one day I will come up with the answer. And as I said, this is basically, for me, as you said about the catharsis, this is kind of like cathartical experience, because it helps me grasp the reality more coherently.
But it's very personal.
Yeah. Of course, it's personal. It's personal. The images that I use are personal. They mean something to me in the first place. The images that I use to produce these things are personal, and it's not, oh, I'm gonna use this, oh, I'm gonna use this. Let's see what's gonna happen.
What is the role of this viewer's reflection?
Starting the discourse, I think. Starting the discourse about our realizations of.
This already linked to like communal space.
Yeah. Exactly. And I would like to, show it as much as I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any more? You want to ask something? I have something that we didn't actually show it on the slides. I think we didn't have all the time. So do you imagine, how do you imagine it being inside of space, an exhibition space? Do you have a specific structure? Do you want something to be shown? Because this is a series,
yes,
right?
This
You're
is a
working
series.
on for the last few years, right?
Yeah. Basically, this images are quite big, because they are like meter on meter every single one. If they're square, if they're not, they're like meter on meter 20, I think, or so. No, I didn't, because they are heavy, because they are UV printed on the metal boards that are basically used to in professional photography, and in exhibitional photography there is a kind of material that is called debond, and on this aluminum plate you glue the paper and then print. And I'm not using the paper, I'm printing directly on the metal, which for me corresponds more correctly with the character of those images. They're on metal, they're heavy, and they're big. So ideally, they are in one cubicle space, heavily lit. So they are, like, you can feel the digitalness of them.
Okay. What is the role of light in your whole
The light,
universe?
basically, as I showed you in my a small video that I did in the same way, the video that it was done the same way. I changed it to sound and then made them a video clip. The light is still the most important thing because it carries the information. It did carry the information before on the negative, film, but right now it is not. Before it was put on the film and it was there. Right now the light is interpreted by digital sensor. So the light itself is not sure. We're not sure it was there. It may be a glitch on the device. So I'm searching for the light, actually. Heavily lit. Yeah. In the space, in the exhibitional space, I want them to be heavily lit because they are quite detailed in structure. So I want them to be readable, clearly readable, because there's a lot of nuances inside the pixels or whatever you want to call them.
Okay, I think we're gonna do the last question. So the last question is this: how far are you in finishing this series, this project? Is this something that you want to do more, to experiment more?
Definitely.
So how far are you in completing it?
Actually, I'm just beginning. I'm just starting because it's the matter that I'm dealing with is so deep. I cannot say where is the ending line. I cannot say okay, I know it now, or okay, this is done. I want to move to something else because this is not exactly a classical type of art project because in art project you have kind of like points and you know what we want to do and paint a painting and okay, it's done. Or you make a photographic project, you go to to Africa and photograph stuff, and then you come back and it's done. In this is theory. This is the method of doing, and this is the searching. So I can go on for as long as I possibly can because there is no clear answer whether it's done or it's not.
So in essence, you have no deadline right now.
No, I have no deadline.
This
at
is
all.
like
I have a deadline now.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna finish, but
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. It was great. So.